Welcome back. It's Brian again, just here doing some beekeeping as we do, as this channel is all about. I'll kick it off by saying at least my smoker's working this time round. It wasn't last time, but things got a bit spicy. Hey, don't forget, if you like beekeeping and if you like watching Aussie dudes trundling around in white suits, and no, I don't mean the crazy house, I mean beekeeping house, by all means subscribe. Now this hive is a two-frame, or rather a two-box Langstroth hive. We got through the winter in one box and then moving into the second one. I inspected it 7 days ago. It wasn't really a swarm risk at that stage. However, I do need to keep a bit of a close eye on it because we're in that time of year where they can change their minds quite quickly. So without further ado, I'm firstly, as you can see, removing the insulation. Some really easy basic insulation panels. So nice to get into. Probably have to replace these rubber straps once, Ocky straps once a year. It's not the worst problem to have, I would say. Not too easy. Look at that, self-disassembling. And voila, one Langstroth hive. First things first, we'll take the lid off, give it a smoke, wait 30 seconds. We'll look at some of the hives and frames inside this box. Then, depending on what we find, we'll go and have a look in the second box. It's actually almost certain I will go and have a look in the second box. And how good is that smoker compared to the last one? Gee, I got mobbed. So, advice for young players there, or new players: don't leave your smoker unattended if you're not sure, which is what I did this time around, and sure enough, it went out. So you notice I've moved the lid just slightly, and the bees are behaving in a very sort of fast-moving way. Now, the first thing I do is I look at how the bees are behaving, and if they're moving around very, very quickly, that can signify a couple of things to me, and it can just change up the way I approach the hive. Give it a quick squirt, just leave the lid on for a bit. And what you'll notice is that bees that come back to the hive haven't smelled the smoke, and they can get quite curious, so they'll generally come and check me out. If you've never done beekeeping before, nothing to be alarmed about. Although I have bees all around me, it's important to notice that at the moment I'm not being attacked, they're just curious. That's going to change pretty soon. They'll get more than curious. But I generally don't get attacked as long as I'm polite and gentle and measured. So when I start shaking things around, that's when things get a bit hairy. So last week, these three frames are kind of about 50% full. So it'll be interesting to see how much of that's changed. Now, if I was a commercial beekeeper running, 50 or 100 hives, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have the time for it. But in this case, it's in my backyard, literally. So it's kind of a hobby for me. I'll go and have a look and just see what they're up to. And if you've never done beekeeping before as a hobby, I can highly recommend it. I used to do home brewing. Don't do any drinking these days, so try and concentrate on staying healthy. And beekeeping is actually a really good way to do that. Keeps you active, keeps you thinking. Look at that. Now that's an outer frame. And see what I mean about the bees moving very quickly? So these bees are moving with purpose. I think these bees are building these combs up to wax. And if you look at the other side, there's very little comb on there. So that's exactly what these bees are doing. They're laying this, they're turning all of this into fresh honeycomb off a foundation base. That's interesting. Just for those of you that may not have seen that very well, have a look at that. See the honeycomb? They're not putting honey in there. On the other side, just pretty much foundation. So these bees, their job seems to be building up this comb. Let's have a look at the next one and see what we find. Now, can't recommend this tool enough, by the way. Best way to, once you've loosened up the frames with your hive tool, get in there, loosen them up, practicing what I preach, making sure my smoker stays smoky. Starting to get a bit more than curiosity with some of these girls now. Just keep it going. There we go. Nice and smoky. And don't forget also, if you like my channel, do subscribe. Oh, this is heavy. This is really heavy. So this feels like it's got quite a lot of honey in it actually. This feels like about 2.5, 3 kilos worth. So that's about 70% full, which is really interesting considering that was empty, I think, last week. You can't really see it. I'll bring it over. You can see them just starting to fill that out here. They're just starting to cap that honey there. On the other side, that's all just honey, liquid honey. Sorry, girls. This one, similar, about the same weight. A little bit more capping going on. So it looks like they're working on a bunch of frames all at once, but this one again, same thing, about 3 kilos, so about 3/4 full. That means when they get into it, they're going to start capping that really, really fast. Middle frame, usually the fullest of the lot. And no surprises, they're dripping with bees, literally. Bit of capping going on. And all these girls are doing is putting honey into these holes, into these combs. Wow. These two are pretty much empty. These are new ones that I put in there the other day. Just filling those out, putting honeycomb on them. See how those bees are moving quickly? They're moving differently to the bees on the other frame. I'm pretty sure it's because these ones are just all about building up these combs. They're not behaving like honeybees, more like worker bees within the hive. And this is the same. I think we'll find the same thing here. Yep, same thing. Just starting to build out the comb off the base that I put in last week. And see that same kind of movement. So I've got 3 empty frames in here, which is good. And I've got 3 full frames so far. Well, not full, but 3/4 full. Another one here, pretty empty. They're putting honey in this, I can smell it. You can't, but I can. And fun fact, if you don't know about bees, 99% of these bees are all female. All the ones that do the work, they're all female. And this one, same again. Look at that movement. Fast movement. And they're building up the comb. So we've got your honey gatherers, we've got your workers in the colony, and I've got 4 empty frames here, and 5 empty frames, and 3 frames that are sort of 3/4 full. So this one, based on what I see here, this one's probably good for a few more weeks before it fills up, but I may get some honey out of this one this year. Now for the real fun. Don't fail me now, smoker. Let's not jinx this. We've had a few bees arrive. A bit of confusion. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to look in the bottom hive, and what I want to look in is a few frames, and I want to see, are they making queen cells? That's my big question. Are they making queen cells? This hive probably won't be, but you never know your luck in the big city. Now, if all of those frames were full of honey, I wouldn't be able to lift that. That'd be just too heavy. If you don't know, this is a queen excluder. And this is a plastic queen excluder. I'm not a big fan of them because they can, I reckon, damage some of the bees' wings when they squeeze through them. However, they're necessary if you don't want your queen laying eggs and honey. So I have a queen excluder between my boxes. I don't actually have a queen excluder in my long Langstroth though. And funnily enough, the bees kind of keep her in the one area. They leave the rest for honey. Let's give these frames a bit of a smoke, just to be on the safe side. And this hive is absolutely full of bees now. It came out through the winter quite weakly, but it's really picked up some pace in the last 3 weeks. So that means I've probably got a strong queen in here who's been laying a lot. We've got a lot of bees. And then what follows that, once they've got a lot of bees, hopefully, is some honey making. But, and we can see that kind of in that top hive, in that top frame, the first one. But all we're looking for here, only thing I'm really looking for, is swarm activity. So see, I'm just separating everything out with my tool, making sure they all move cleanly. And it's time for my friend here. Come on, do your worst. Come on, bees. There we go. And brood frame, look at that. On the outside brood frame. I'm looking for my queen, I can't see her. I hardly ever see my queen. It's like, where's Wally? Brood frame here also. See, she could be in any one of these frames. Lots of brood. I try and keep my frames above my hive as well, just in case I knock her off by mistake. I kind of want her to fall back into the hive. If, it's a big if I knock her off by mistake. I want to look at this outside frame too. They're generally not easy to look at because they tend to be a bit more stuck. Let's see how we go though. I've got enough room, I think. Yep. Got a good grip. As Maverick would say, got tone. And there we go. On the outside, that's where we're starting to see things like a queen cup. You'll see that, a little queen cup there. Another queen cup here. Now queen cups, I don't know if you can see that. They tend to be, you know, these like teardrop shapes. And they're only cups because they haven't been used. They're only like starters. Kind of like practice cells. There's a drone cell there. A little bit of drone brood, but only the one drone cell. On the other side, I'm getting bombed here quite badly actually. That's alright, goes with the territory. A little bit of drone brood, but not much. I'm not seeing a lot of swarming signs. That might change. So see, this is in the middle, and I would expect to be seeing more capped brood here, and I'm not. It's very patchy brood. I'm looking in here, and I know my eyes aren't great, but I can't see any laid brood. So I'm wondering, and I know this hive has a queen by the way, I'm just wondering what's going on. And you know how I can tell it's got a queen? Because if you have a queenless hive, the bees behave very differently. You might, if you've ever had a queenless hive, they tend to wander around aimlessly, kind of like when the boss isn't looking. That's because there's no babies to feed. That's more like it. I can see some baby brood in here. I can see another queen cup. On the other side, another queen cup. More capped brood. And I can see in this area, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it, larvae. So that means we have a laying queen, because those larvae are less than 7 days old. You can tell by the size of them. So even if I don't see her, I know this hive has a queen just by the way the bees are behaving and by the fact that I've seen fresh larvae. You don't have to see the queen, by the way, for an inspection to be successful. I think I've maybe seen my queen in hundreds of inspections, maybe 3 or 4 times. Same with this cell, I've got lots of larvae in the bottom of these cells. They're not capped. So it does make me wonder, she's either not very active because I'm not seeing the same amount of larvae that I would expect to see if I had a laying queen. So maybe I've got a freshly mated queen following a supersedure. Yeah, same in this one. Not a lot of brood. What would put my mind at rest right now is to see my queen. Just to be, you know, to be sure. No, I'm not seeing her. Not yet, anyway. That's more like it. I've got fresh larvae in here. I've got multiple queen cups, which I'm not going to do much with at the moment. I've got a reason for that. I'm looking for that nice, long abdomen. Where are you, Queenie? Yeah, this is like a really bad Where's Wally. I know you're there because I can see that fresh larvae. busy. Look at this. This is honey. What they normally do is they make a honey frame on the outside. They use it as insulation. So see, you've got no brood here, but you've got capped honey. Now, if I see them do this, I will always... I've got one brood cell there. Somehow she's managed to lay one there, or a couple there. I'll always leave a honey one on the outside, because come winter time, that's valuable insulation for them. Put that in nice and gently. You did really well, ladies. You did really, really well. Thank you. So I haven't seen my queen, but I know she's there somewhere. Because we have brood. Always slide these things on. I don't want to hurt my bees. There's my queen excluder, back on again. In winter time, I'll drop this down to one frame. Right now, it's doing fine at 2 frames. Hopefully I haven't killed anybody. There you go, girls. Here's my bee brush. Last piece of hardware, quite a useful one, bee brush. Gentle, gentle, gentle. I know. Hear that? They don't really like being brushed. They're not a dog. But it means I don't kill a few. And I really didn't like me doing that either, by the way, because I've got a half a dozen of them who are absolutely hating on me. Which is fine. And then we'll just put this insulation back on and we're all good. There's a bit of a trick to this, of course. And the bees are all hanging out the front. Sometimes you even see the queen out the front. I'm not seeing her today anyway. I see a bunch of bees out there and they're probably all saying something like, we don't want to go back inside because it's bloody horrible and smoky and stinky. Alrighty, here's our first one. Second side panel. There you go, girls. Back panel. This front panel is going to be a bit of a challenge, isn't it? Same again with the side panel. We'll get there. Even though it's summertime, I still leave the insulation on. The bees actually find it a whole heap easier to manage their temperature with the insulation on, even on a hot day. It's going to not work as hard to cool it down. The hive's taking in less solar energy, and they've got less to get rid of. The clever little squirrels. There we go. Now, where's my bee brush? I've got a feeling I'm going to need it. They are not going to like me for this. So what I'm going to do, cheat a little bit, just cheat death. And all this does, it doesn't hurt them. Just makes them think there's a fire around. And they're less concentrating on looking for a physical attacker. And they're sending out alarm signals going, fire, fire, fire. And they're all looking for the fire. They're not looking for Yogi Bear. And if you've ever watched Yogi Bear, when he goes for the honey, he always gets attacked from chased by a heap of bears. Nobody wants that. And look at that, they're all kind of just, literally just cruising on, going. You see it, it's all cut out. Just keeps it in place. And there you have it, insulation back in place. Thanks for stopping by my videos. Great to have the company, and don't forget, if you're interested in beekeeping, particularly backyard beekeeping, which is all I do, and learning with me, do give us a subscribe, do give us a follow, bit of a like, just encourages me. I'll just hang here with my friends for a bit, hope you don't mind.